All right. Welcome back. No, us welcome back. Hey, you welcome back. So how you doing? And thank you for tuning in to our 13th episode of the Lincoln Real Estate Group, Denver's formerly post-coronavirus market update, now called Real Estate Roundtable, where we touch on issues and things that are going on in our market and things that buyers and sellers need to think about. And now that we've got like a smoking hot market and it's on cruise control, or it's up at cruising altitude, things are really active. We got lots of stuff to talk about, so don't touch that dial. Anyway, great stuff coming up. We're going to take a look at the numbers. We're going to take a look at, talk about, if you're, we're kind of going into the holiday season, what you should be thinking about if you're thinking about selling or buying in the spring, how to get ready for that. And we're going to go into some detail with some things that affect buyers and sellers when we're in multiple offers situation, which with the low inventory and stuff, it seems to be par for the course these days. Now, I don't know where I'm getting the feedback, so hopefully that's just me. But in any case, if you're watching live and you comment on the Lincoln Real Estate Group Livecast page, we'll get those live and can comment. If you're commenting on the other pages, we will be monitoring them and trying to get back to you as soon as we can. So with that, I'm going to press the button here and bring in our rock star panel. We got the chief rock star, Jen Erzinger, up there in the left, our broker owner, and our other rock star, the bass player, always on top of the financing. We got Pam Wandry from Columbine Mortgage, who always brings us all the juicy tidbits. And then down here in the bottom, we got the lead guitarist, Ann Schabacher, and of course me. I guess I'm just the audio engineer down on the right. Yeah, they're broker associates with Lincoln Real Estate Group. So, howdy, gang. How is everybody doing?
Happy September.
Happy September.
Well.
September, yeah. Thanksgiving and Christmas are around the corner. Fall is, as usual, fall just falls in a day. We got snowed on, and then it's fall. Yep. I was like, there's no dragging it out, man. It's just like, it's fall. So, but as far as our market goes, and bear with me a minute here while I try to see if I can get this so I can actually monitor the comments that I was talking about. There we go. Okay, we got that. But we have a number of things that are happening now in this post-coronavirus world. One of which is we would have expected to see a slowdown. Sorry, I'm stammering here. I'm trying to get this set up at the same time. Yeah. Oh, we're on the air. Yeah. Okay. But no, we had a few episodes back. Now, is that me that's hearing me, or are you guys hearing two of me?
Nope. No.
Oh, I see what's happening. Okay, never mind. I was hearing what's going on Facebook, and it's on a delay. And so, anyway, we're back on. But a while back, we had talked about, we had Dr. Yoon, who had made his prediction that they would see a 10 to 15% decrease in volume, but values to increase 1 to 2%. Now that was April, May. What do you think, guys?
Well, we had a new average sales price of $605, so I'd say we did okay.
Yeah,
we kind of got shot out of a cannon.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say we kind of blew those statistics like right out of the water.
Yeah,
I mean when this
past that 1 to 2%.
When this market opened up, and then the average price. I mean, there were a number of people that had reported on this, but they were Channel 7 reported that average home price in Denver, in this Denver metro area, for single family detached, $606,000. And so, amazing appreciation going on. That was from the Denver Metro Association of Realtors report. Just really good for homeowners and for people that have bought. We've got a lot of activities keeping values up and up and up and up. But yeah, so there was talk. Here's the thing that is not twisting me up, but uncertainty is typically just sends markets into a tailspin, and we are like and here's what's ironic, or the thing that's going on is we got all of this uncertainty going on, yet our market is just cruising as if there wasn't.
Yeah.
And what are you guys seeing that's driving it?
Pandemic.
Yeah, I mean, what are you guys seeing that's sort of driving that from your...
I think we just had a lot of... We'll go, Ann, you can hit that one.
We still have a housing shortage. I mean, the bottom line is that we don't have enough houses and we have too many buyers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to change really anytime soon. I think we're still at 1 million homes short right now, something to that effect. But we're going to keep going strong for a while longer.
And I think the low interest rates have been just kindling for that buyer, that people are like, free money, let's go buy a house or a second home or whatever the case may be. Investment properties, I mean, they're all just scrambling right now. So.
Yeah.
The low interest rates are the only reason we're able to sustain the type of appreciation, that we've received, because that gives the buyers more buying power. But at some point, we're going to tap out on that. There's only so much a first-time buyer can afford.
Right.
So I think we'll start kind of leveling out a little bit, but the appreciation for sellers has just been fabulous.
Oh,
so it's a great time.
Yeah.
Unprecedented.
Unprecedented, and you would think with all of the craziness that's going on with the virus, with the situations around, in the election year, it just you'd think, everybody'd be like deer in the headlights, but yeah, either they must be blind. I mean, because it's going, which is all good stuff. But that brings up, and we'll get into this. This is for our audience. We'll be talking later. We're still going to be in multiple offer situations, with low inventory. There's now 10 buyers lining up to look at, or what would have been 2, right? So we'll talk about some of the things that are becoming par. What an appraisal gap is, what does health and safety on an inspection mean? So we'll get into that in a minute. But we always have to have our weekend update from Jen Erzinger. So to let's just spin into that section here. Jen, what happened last weekend?
Well, a lot happened as usual. So our total units on the market as of Thursday, well, actually this was as of yesterday when I ran the numbers, was 4,716. Over the weekend, the new listings that popped were 719. 992 of those went under contract. We closed 636 Friday and Monday, and 85 withdrew for whatever reason. So as you can see, our under contracts are way outpacing what we're putting on right now. So,
well, yeah.
Hence our problem. Hence right back to the beginning where we said we have a housing shortage.
It's just kind of gobbling. They can't keep up with the. Not enough can come on to satisfy the demand. Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, if you notice, since our livecast started, those total actives have gone down each time.
Yes. Yes.
And just from last month, they were 4,800 and something, and
49.
So we lost another 100 or so.
Yeah. Yeah, we lost a couple hundred actually. Yeah. So.
Well, Jim Edgell said good morning to everybody.
Hi, Jim.
Morning, Jim.
He's checking in, right? So good. Well, at least that part's working. No, so that that kind of loops into that steady stream we're talking about. This is the famous spreadsheet, but we had some discussion while we're preparing for the show. It's like, oh, are we going to see the typical seasonal fall off, like September, August, into August, September? We'd expect to see the activity kind of start dropping down, and I was looking at the charts, and I thought, oh man, this is our pending the homes going under contract activity since we opened up. Pretty much, I mean, it's a down trend, but that's just, we had this little blip here, and I thought, oh, we're going into fall, and then it popped right back up. Now, more needs to be revealed, but we had a little dip here over 4th of July weekend, and here's Labor Day weekend, and I'm thinking, well, guys, are we going to see a fall slowdown? And let's see what the panel thinks, you know?
No.
No.
I think the short answer is no. I was actually asked this yesterday by a seller who's a little nervous about going on in the fall, and I'm just like, I don't think there is a fall this year. 2020 is out the window. Any statistic that we normally rely on is just gone. Our heaviest months traditionally we couldn't show. We were shut down. So that's just pushing everything out. Will we be putting listings under contract at spring fever pitch over Christmas? I have no idea. Probably not. But I just don't think we're going to slow down to the levels we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
Not that that's even been a thing the last 6-7 years, but
yeah, no.
My hunch is no.
Yeah. What are you seeing, Pam? I mean, did like mortgage apps and stuff, are they slowing down? Did you suddenly go, whew, it's August, man, the rush is over?
The rates are fueling so many refis, but like I said, purchases are still just as strong because of our market here. Lenders nationally, we had a 20-year record where 1.1 trillion in loans was created during Q2. That's just astounding, and we're not really seeing a slowdown. We've seen, the rates are, at the 30-year fixed average from Freddie Mac right now is 2.86%, and that is with 0.8 fees, and that is just incredible. I mean, I'm consistently quoting below 3% for 30-year, not 2, I wish.
Yeah.
No, actually, I don't. I'm like,
no, you don't.
Pam's phone just blew up. Yeah.
Below 3%, and it's just crazy. People that even just refied or purchased less than a year ago are doing it again because the rates are just that great right now. And I don't think that's going to change. But I don't think any of the rates, even if they bounce up just a little bit with the which we'll talk about here in a little bit, the adverse market fee, they're still so low that there's so many refi opportunities out there that people are going to keep coming. And same for purchases. So the rates are just too good to pass up right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I think all of this is good news. And back to that, and this is sort of a segue here, just for our audience. This gap between the green line and the blue line is these are the green line is the number of new listings coming on. The blue line is the activity of them being gobbled up, the listings. So there's still, and you can see there's a gap in here where there's not enough inventory listings coming on to satisfy the demand. And so that's what's kind of driving that multiple offers situation we'll get into. But I thought maybe what we do here is let's talk about that because we're going to get back to what if you're thinking of selling in the spring or buying, what should you get it prepared, and then the multiple offer thing in a second. But let's talk about, because that was like in financing land, they had that. What's the official term for it? I call it a penalty fee, but
adverse market fee.
Adverse market fee, yeah.
It's a greed fee. That's what I call it. A greed fee.
The FHFA announced in August, I think, that they were going to implement this fee to refinance mortgages, not purchases, just because the market has been so volatile, and they got such huge pushback on that they delayed the implementation to December 1st. Oh. But that fee is a 0.5 in points. So that translates to like $2,000 on a $400,000 loan. And that fee is going to be pushed along to the borrowers in pricing. And so those
so that's their in their closing costs, right? So their closing costs
not in the closing costs. You won't see it like broken out. It will just be in the pricing. So pricing will bump up effectively as lenders start to implement this fee into their pricing, so that they can recoup that what they have to pay to FHFA when they sell those loans, those Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac loans. And so that will have a small impact on that. They're not necessarily purchased. There is some speculation of whether that might go into purchasing pricing as well, but I don't think so at this right now. I think they're able to keep those very distinct. But
is it cash out refinances or just
all refinances?
All refinances.
Any refinance. Yep, rate term, cash out. Yeah, it's VA. Sorry, not VA. Just Freddie and Fannie loans, but any refinance. So
is this sort of a temporary thing? Like if the market, They have not given a deadline of when it would be removed. Right now, it's just there till. Yeah, because if the coronavirus is magically cured and stuff, would that fee go away?
I assume so. I would assume once things stabilize and maybe rates go up and people aren't, refinancing and then 6 months later refinancing, or like that, they will maybe remove that fee, but that's a ways off. And then as the Fannie and Freddie possibly go private, who knows what will happen to that? We don't know. We have that's all stuff that is yet to be seen, or what's going to happen there. So, but as in preparing for spring, financing is that key piece that if you're going to sell, if you're thinking of selling or purchasing, you can never speak too early to a lender. Just having an idea of what your numbers would look like if you have any credit issues or not enough saved or whatever the case may be, just knowing what steps you need to do and having the time to be able to do that to get you into that ideal position for pre-qualification is just going to set you up for the best possible chance of getting into the home that you want.
Yeah.
So that's just part of the one step of the whole process of, if you're considering purchasing, reach out to a lender.
Or selling and purchasing, and you've got to get financing to do stuff. Because the other thing too is, as you go to the beginning of the year, and we run into the situation where all of a sudden we're the last year's taxes done. Any benefit to like getting a plan to getting your taxes integrated into that program?
Try to get those done as soon as you can. Yes, of course.
Cool. And then it brings up another thing, because as we come up in the holidays, people want to travel. Now, who knows what's going to happen in the 2020 world, but normally, people are like, well, I want to get there. I got everybody coming in. I don't want to have to be moving during the fall. I'm thinking about going on the market in the spring, or it's like, we want to get through the holidays and we'll start, looking forward to buying in the spring. From the real estate and the property standpoint, what does the team think here? What are some things that people could think about that they could start doing now to plan ahead to be ready to go in the spring?
From a seller or a buyer?
Either way, yeah, it's free for 'em, man. Just head it up. Yeah, if you're buying, yeah.
So on the listing side, I'm counseling my spring sellers right now, just giving them a honey-do list. What do you call it, Tony?
I have my should do, my must do, my should do, my could do list, right? Yeah. And so it has different returns on it. But here's your must do list, here's your should do list, and here's the thing. Yeah.
I straight call it your honey-do list.
The honey-do list, yeah.
It's a lot less overwhelming if you start now getting organized, right? I always counsel people, it looks like, selling is very different than living. You got to make it look like you don't live there. So clean out your closets, get your storage unit going, start getting things cleaned up. Take your pictures now while it's still kind of green.
Well, yeah, while it's still green, so you can go on in February and have something. I tell you, when you're looking at the MLS and all you see is the dead trees and the snow, and it's like, you just don't have any of that curb appeal. But getting the pictures now while it's in the spring, and you're also that gives you a chance to, interact with your broker and let us kind of go through and do the, the must do, should do, could do list, and that can at least give you a guide thing to work on.
If you do have terrible curb appeal, waiting till winter to do pictures isn't a terrible idea.
Yeah, well, there is cover the Mophus thing. Yeah.
There's that.
I hope it snows.
Blame it on winter.
Yeah. Well,
you can get by with a lot more.
and some of the fixes, contractors start to slow down in the winter, and you might be able to get. In theory, it is 2020. So yeah, we'll just talk about Christmas past, or winter past. But typically, it would be slower time, and you had a better luck of getting somebody that could take on your painting job, could take on stuff that they just couldn't get to at any rate. But Ann, you're kind of quiet down there. I know you got something for us.
I'm dealing with some new construction issues this week.
That's a whole
nother topic.
We're going to go into that. That topic is coming up next. But while we're in this side, I just wanted to toss out what does staging mean, and why is that valuable to a seller?
Well, go
ahead, Jen.
So staging can mean a couple of different things. I think our group, we like to do limited staging. Well, if you already have a furnished house, it's more just like cleaning out, and decluttering and maybe making some tweaks. If you have a vacant property, doing limited staging makes all the difference in the world. Buyers are not great at visualization, especially if you have some quirky spaces. That's why you want to hire a stager, and the firm we recommend is really, really good and very reasonably priced, and it makes all the difference in the world. It makes your pictures look different. Buyers can visualize spaces better, and it will make your house, statistically, I don't have the statistics in front of me, but it does make your house sell quicker.
It sells quicker and for more, generally.
Yep.
So you definitely want to consider staging if your home is vacant.
Well,
and if it's not vacant, then we like to come in and kind of move things around.
Yeah. Well, there's a concept in photography, where they have in composition where there's like a depth indicator, and I use the analogy. Okay, if you're driving down the road, we kind of get a sense of how fast we're going because you have the white lines going by, right? And so there's a reference thing, and we kind of understand it. But when you get a photograph of an empty room, right, and there isn't anything of relative size, your brain does not see or perceive the space as it should be, and then the inverse of that is, if you've got a small room and then you've got a big poofy sectional sofa that's taking up 3/4 of the room, well, there might be a adequate space there for normal size furniture, but once you've crammed all that stuff in there, you now have a closet instead of a living room, and so the stager helps get all of those things and make the photography and the buyer's walk-through experience, so that they walk in, the space is identified, it feels open, right? They really do a fantastic job, and that's why it makes a difference. And I'm sure everybody here I've shown a very similar property. One was staged, right? And one wasn't. And which one do you think the buyer bought?
Staged
always. It's like, it's like, things like, did they make, and the stager comes up, it's not just putting things places, but it's other things like, getting your closet half emptied so people can see that there's space for their stuff, emptying out your kitchen cabinets below your kitchen cabinets so that when they go look in there, there's like, oh yeah, my pans will fit in here. Where if it's packed to the brim, you don't do it. So that's good. But also, as far as getting ready, right, it's a good time if you're thinking about listing in the spring, or even in fall, to get in touch with your broker and get a stager over there so you can start figuring out that plan, right? Because it's like, I mean, I've told plenty of sellers, I go, just get a storage unit, man, and we'll get the movers over here, and we'll move your life into the storage, and then we'll leave the stuff, and we hate to do it, but, selling a house and living in a place are two different things,
Yes, they are.
It's just two different things, so good.
The pre-work you do, the amount of work you put into it, you'll be rewarded 100-fold if you put in the work.
In the work, and some things are just really stupid. They're like, that little light switch that's been loose for a while,
right,
and stuff like this, and you can start taking care of it. But
put your toilet seat down, change your light bulb. Some of the small things in life, make a big difference.
Yeah. So, but moving on, and I guess I'm still sending the fourplex. We talked about the demand on the market. Now, what people say, well, the market's so hot, why do I have to do all of that stuff?
Because buyers still care.
Yes, yeah, because buyers aren't stupid.
Buyers are paying out the nose, and they're not stupid. So,
right.
They want something for their money. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't just throw a house on and think you're going to get top dollar.
No.
You're truly not. You're truly not. You have to work at it still.
Yeah. No, and that's so true. I mean, and if you're paying top dollar, stuff should work,
Yeah.
I shouldn't have flood cans hanging out of the ceiling, and that old coil range, with the missing, what do you call them? The reflectors? I don't even know what they're called anymore.
Those catchers?
Yeah, they go under the stove
cans.
coil. Yeah, those, right? They should be there, Anyway, moving on. Assuming, and part of, we actually, our market, there is a lot of people do get their place staged and do have it showing well and do have it lights in the right place, and understand that that's still important, and actually more important in a hot market, because it's like, not only do you want to get that activity, which you'll get, but you want to get people that are putting a real strong offer in front of you and not having to do price adjustments, right? Which it kind of works opposite, but it's like, okay, you go on too high, and buyers will pay, but it's their decision. But if they think they got to overbid, and you got these issues that weren't taken care of, and it's not showing right, well, they're just going to wait for that price to drop and drop and drop, and then it's going to go the other way. It'd be like, okay, they've been on for 30 days in the hot market, let's go shoot them low, and that's just the normal stuff. But part of that is we still, expecting, if there's a property that you like, there's a good chance there's somebody else that likes it too. And we got the multiple offer situation that is all just par for the course. And it's got there's a lot of good things about it, but there's a lot of things that makes it just brutal on buyers. And there's a lot of terms that we're not really familiar with. And I thought we'd take a few minutes here with the team. One of the things during the point of contracting is we've got buyers get the right to do an inspection, and sometimes they'll limit the inspection items to health and safety. So to the team, what does that mean for our first-time home buyer, or second-time home buyer that hasn't bought and never had to deal with that? What is if you're limiting it to health and safety? What are we talking about?
I call it the big five. So I think every agent and every brokerage sort of has a little bit of a different perspective on this. But typically the big five, you're going to do your general inspection. You always have the right to terminate. That never changes. However, if you do submit an inspection notice or asking for a repair list, we're going to limit it to health and safety, which we consider roof, sewer, structural, electrical, HVAC, and radon. So I guess it's the big six. So, you're going to get all your inspections done, but then we're not going to come in and be ticky-tacky about what we're asking for.
We don't want to paint the porch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And some listing agents are limiting that to repairs over X amount. So like, don't even talk to me if your repair is less than $500 or $1,000, whatever that threshold is. So, Anne might have a different take on that. That's just sort of.
No, that's pretty much my take. But the issue that I've run into is that sellers agents want an inspection waiver, meaning no inspection. And I can't, in any good conscience and or sleep at night, telling a client or a buyer to waive their inspection.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes one roof, one sewer line to put them under. And that's not acceptable. But I think we touched a little bit on it the last time we talked, is there's some bullying going on by sellers agents to try to get your offer accepted. And it's tough. I mean, it's hard right now. I would not ever advise a client to waive an inspection.
Yeah, no, you got it.
And you should we counsel our buyers up front about that too. It's like, under no circumstance, there will be another house. We will not do this,
Yes.
So
I had this conversation with a new client yesterday. It's not happening.
Right.
And I actually had a buyer that was like, well, I think we need to do that if we're going to get a house. Like, no, we'll find the house. And we did. We found the house. There were 9 offers. We got it. We did the inspection. We settled on inspection items. Everybody was cool. That's how it should go.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the other things people will do in multiple offers is they might try to push the dates and deadlines up and make a stronger offer, which isn't, it's kind of where they're increasing their risk. But you guys want to explain a little bit about that?
Good luck pushing them up.
What's that?
From the financing side, that can be tricky. We are still able to get purchases done in 30 days, but the biggest hang up is usually the appraisal. Right now appraisers are just as busy as everybody else in this industry, and it's maybe taken a little bit longer for an appraiser to pick up the job and then to get it scheduled and get it in there and then to get the report back. So trying to move up those dates, it doesn't really work.
But you're
for
putting your
financing
buyers,
side of it.
Yeah, your earnest money's at risk if you lie on your dates and because the seller does not have to extend you.
No, and I've done things where it's like, my buyer's like ready with their inspector and the whole thing. It was like, we're going to get in and out of the inspection in 7 days.
Yeah, right.
Those type of things. And so in a multiple offer situation, it's like, well, that can make you a little bit of a stronger buyer. It's like, they're not going to string us out for 14 days while we get around to doing the inspection. We'll get in and get through that quickly.
But you still have to get your home inspector in there within those 7 days, and sometimes that's tough. Everybody is busy right now. Everybody.
Yeah.
If you make your other dates and deadlines tighter on a finance deal. I had a listing agent. We were in a multiple offer situation. Shocking, I know. And they wanted a 3-week close on a finance. And I was like, okay, I'll
be finding that lender.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I was like, all right, but I'm asking you for an amend extend next week. It's like, I'll say that, but
I'll say it. Sure.
That. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
ain't gonna happen.
It's like, I'm not doing that. That's just dangerous. You don't overpromise, and you're just going to tick everybody off, including the client you're supposed to be representing. It's just not. You got to be realistic. So.
Yeah, and that's kind of what's hoping to get at for our audience is that, while the dates and deadlines, we have a little bit of things to give you a stronger offer, you got to be reasonable, because if you aren't and you oversteer it or you overpromise, earnest money, it goes bye-bye, and if you miss one of those, but one of the things I thought we could explain a little bit, and maybe Anne could do this, is is explain what an appraisal gap is to the average Joe. What is an appraisal gap? What are you talking about?
Thanks, Tony. You picked my favorite subject.
Yeah.
Mine too.
I love appraisal gaps.
Yeah.
They're a necessary evil of our market, I'm afraid. But
they are, but it doesn't.
So what? But what are they? What? Let's explain to our audience. What is an appraisal gap? What are we talking about?
An appraisal gap is, let's say the home is listed for $450, you offer $465, and you say, I'll give you a $10,000 appraisal gap. You're assuming that the appraisal will come in at like $455, and you're going to give them the additional $10,000 to get to $465.
In cash. That's a cash in.
In cash. Got to have that in addition to your other down payment money and closing costs and everything else.
Yes.
So if I'm approved for $450. And I want to go look at homes at $450. I don't want to look at anything at $440, and I go at $450, and then I find the home I like. I'm working with Jen and Ann. They had and I said, I want to offer them $470 because I really want this house, but I'm approved at $450. What do you tell me?
Sorry.
First and foremost,
you're fired.
Yeah. We're going down to $400. That's where we're starting. You got to give yourself some room if you're looking to cash in. So we're looking at 400, 410s, you know?
Yes.
And that'll give you more comfort and more room.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're only appraised for $450, you can't go in and offer $470 unless you have $20,000 sitting in cash. But chances are you don't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You still need you have to have closing costs. You have to have your down payment. You got to cover your appraisal and inspections. Most people aren't sitting on $20,000 extra cash.
No. I call it the what can you stomach clause. That's the conversation we always have. It's like, we don't have to do that. You don't have to do it. You don't. Eventually, it's just how often are you willing to be rejected? How long do you have? I mean, it does eventually all work itself out, and you don't necessarily have to do it. But if there's a house you love, you're going to have to. Every house is different. Every situation's different. And what can you stomach? Be thinking about that.
Well,
yes.
And it brings up what happens when the appraisal comes in low.
Well, the way I write the clauses is you have to at least.
You don't overbid.
Appraise for your list price. Like, we got to at least make it to the starting line.
Yeah.
So, whole different conversation.
It's what point I was getting at is when the appraisal comes in low, it's just the same thing, right? Like if you overbid and you gave them the gap, and obviously the appraisers, if the appraisal doesn't come in, it's going to come in low from the contract sales price. But if you didn't overbid, which I don't know how you could do that, but it came in low, it's the same thing. You got to make up the difference if you want to move forward. But the big takeaway for the audience is if you didn't do the appraisal guarantee or appraisal gap, right, and it comes in low, our contract in Colorado at least lets you terminate and move on. But if you've negotiated to where it's got to come in with this within this range, and it comes in low, you got to make up the difference, right? And so,
well, it depends on how you write the clause, which is why you need a good agent to write a good.
That's why you need us. We need to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
We cover you.
You got to at least get to list price, for God's sakes. Like, so.
No, and one of the other things that we talked about earlier was like, okay, on how do you keep yourself? How do you refuse to be bullied? How do you? What do we say to our people when it's like, I know we're in the heat of an emotional situation, but we've got to use the logical side of our brain, and make good decisions.
I think a lot of the bullying we take on the front line, the client doesn't necessarily see it.
Correct.
It's stuff that we deal with that hopefully, knock on wood, our buyers or sellers don't know about. So that's stuff we handle. But it does happen.
Oh, absolutely. Your conversation with your buyer, again, there's a lot of pre-work that goes in terms of expectation setting, but it's like you have to be willing to walk away. You can't pay $15,000 over list, do only health and safety, and then think that a seller is going to push back on a new panel or whatever the case may be.
Right.
you've got to be willing to draw. And sometimes sellers just have to know that that's where your line is, right?
Yeah.
It's like any situation, sorry, we're not doing that.
Yeah. And when we had this inspection waiver pushed on us, I had a long talk with the buyers, like, no, this is the line. This is not worth it. They ended up getting a house they absolutely love, and glad they didn't get that one. But in the heat of the moment, it's very emotional for them. So we do have to be the sounding board and say, look, this is the problem with this situation.
Well,
and how it will affect you.
And there's a lot of fear that they'll never find anything else. And I've told, and I just went through this again, we couldn't get something to stick on the first one. I said, I know it's disappointing, but it's always the case that the better one comes along. It's
always.
It's just always. It's not maybe I'm going to have to compromise. It's just always.
Yep.
And my guy said to me, he goes, no, I can't believe it. I'm going to be the first one that's ever failed on this whole thing, right? And and we'll never find the whole thing. And then of course he wants like the worst possible situation to ever get in, and he loves the house. He absolutely loves it. And that other one, he's like, oh man, forget about that. Look, I got this, I got that, I got this, I got that. I said, and then he said, yeah, okay. But he was telling me that story. He goes, yeah, because I was pretty much convinced you were full of it, and I'm the first one that was never going to get the other place. But it's a hard thing when you're all wrapped up in the emotions of the thing, and that's where us brokers come in. Is that voice of reason you might not want to listen to, but that's been my experience for it just always. It's like, okay, this blew up, all right, well that means there's something better, so be happy. But it's kind of like it's tough to be happy when you're suffering that loss, but it is the truth. So
well, buyers are very emotional, and I get how, I get that emotion side, but this is what we do. This is our job. We're here to protect our buyers and sellers, depending on what side we have. And they're making the largest financial decision of their lives, basically, when they buy a house. Some part of it has to have some logic. And that's what we're here for, is to make sure some point of logic stays in the equation and it's not done purely on emotion.
Well, and I'm sure Pam's seen like not just on the real estate side, but on the lending side. Right. I'm sure that you, Pam, see it's like, okay, well this one blew up or it didn't appraise or the whole thing. But is that your experience too? Is that a better one comes along?
Yes, I mean they always end up finding a home. They and they're happy about where they are. So that definitely is true. But it's emotional, and not just for the home side of it, but like they get hung up on things in the loan side of it too, where rates, like right now I get asked all the time, are the rates going to go any lower? I'm like, my crystal ball is blurry. I don't know.
The minute I close, man, those rates are going to drop 3 points. Yeah.
Nobody could have predicted the situation we're in. Nobody saw this pandemic coming. There was no way to know that. And there's no way, we've got an election coming up. We've got, potential vaccines coming out that, all this news can change the rates. And this adverse market fee, things can come out from the lenders and the GSEs that we don't know are coming that are going to affect rates. And so I've been telling people, we may not be at the bottom of the barrel of the rates right now, like we were maybe a couple weeks ago, but they are so low still that, it's a great rate, and bird in hand is better than two in the bush. Go for it. You're still having a great rate, better to have it and be confident and happy than to be like, maybe it's going to go lower. Oh, whoops, it went higher. You just, I don't like playing that game.
No, and who can time it? If anybody could actually time it, they'd be billionaires. I mean,
absolutely.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, give me my magic ball, man. I'll figure this out, and and we'll
magic 8 ball.
This ain't gonna happen. So, one thing, and I'm gonna ambush you guys with this. Okay. The
Great.
yeah. Well, we quoted earlier about the average price had gone up. Well, there's two types of the average price, right? We got the average price, and then you got the median average price. What's the difference?
Oh,
Pop
Tony.
quiz.
It's your question. You answer it.
All right, I'll answer it. So the
You
median average price is the number at which half the property or whatever is sold above that and whatever sold below that. I like to use that number because the other average price in certain market areas, if you you have a number of million, I'll use 1.5 million plus because everything's gone up, that have factored into the mix, which traditionally did not sell as fast, right? Your average price would be increase because you have these higher price things in the mixed, and so I've always liked to use the median as kind of a gauge as to where things are going. It's like, okay, if I have half of selling above that and half selling below that, what's happening? Because that's telling me kind of the water level. But I believe that 606 number was the average price, and it's like, okay, well, there's other data that I would look at. It's like, okay, well, how many of those, how was it affected by properties in different price brackets,
we had a lot of luxury, like high luxury property sell, so in August, so yeah, that's going to skew your numbers. Or if you have a big townhome month or condo month, it'll
adjust the numbers. Yeah, and I don't have them readily available, but like the townhome numbers on the average price was like 5.25, and the single family, the last run was like $5.99 for a single family detached home. But that's a good sign too for condos and stuff. And again, those are average price. If you have a whole bunch of $750,000 to $1 million townhomes selling, they're in a mix, right? It doesn't mean your $250,000 condo is now worth $500,000.
You're right.
Yeah, right.
Well, I think DMAR too pulls in a couple of counties that we don't factor up in the foothills.
Oh, right. Right.
And do they use Summit? I can't remember. There's one of those mountain counties that they roll in numbers that's kind of going to kick that a little higher as well.
Yeah.
Because we use straight Denver Metro, like, the 5-county.
Yeah.
I think they use a 7-county.
Let's see. Yeah, I can't seem to enlarge this, but any rate. So, that's all good stuff. So, we're getting kind of that point where wrap up. I didn't see any comments to respond to. Did you guys?
I never see the comments, so I can't talk.
You don't know? Okay.
I'm the wrong person to ask.
I had one. I don't see the others. It doesn't mean you didn't do it. If you did, and you did comment, and we didn't answer you, then email us, or we will email you and get back. We'll respond shortly. But yeah, I did have. We were talking about getting your place ready to go on the market and stuff, and there is some advantages to using professionals, electricians, plumbers, stuff like that. And here's an example of why you might want to use a pro.
Oh lordy.
Yeah.
Is this part of your remodel? No, just kidding.
No. Thank goodness. And yeah, I do look forward to getting my "Should you remodel or should you sell your place and buy one remodeled" video coming out later this month after I calm down. And let me see if I can get to the obstacle course. I thought this was quite hilarious, but let me see if I can find it and then cut to it. Let's see, because there is I was like, man, this little video looked like it would be exactly, hold on, let's see if I can get to it here. Real estate obstacle. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, this is us request for repairs, stomach problems, canceled showing, pandemic. Oh yeah, there was a problem with a loan. We decided to rent something. We're backing out. Alcohol. At any rate, so yeah.
That is sadly accurate.
Yeah.
Yes.
What do you do for a living? Let me show you. That. So, at any rate. But with that, yeah, man, I think we got this. Thank you. Well, Pam, did you have anything to add? I mean, we kind of went through your stuff and weaved it into the other things. Did I miss something?
No, I don't think so. I think we covered it all. We talked about the FHFA, adverse market fee that was coming on. Rates are great. We talked about, I think we covered pretty much.
We're good. So I didn't.
Normal loan territory.
Normal loan territory. Very cool. Oh, I did have one last tip. You guys probably don't know what this is, do you?
It's like a flashlight.
Oh, don't even. That's for for pet stains.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't work.
No.
Yeah. Well, the only reason I would say is I found it for like $7 on eBay. And for the audience, if you shine this on your carpet and stuff, it shows pet marks. You might want to, if you're thinking about getting on the market and you have pets, and you can just kind of look at it and see, because they have steam cleaners and people that will enzyme treat things like that. But
the short answer is you don't want to know.
You don't want to know? You never saw this.
No.
I'm going to do a Men in Black thing where I flashy thing you. You don't even know what I'm talking about. Yeah, that was a neuralizer. So.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, if you're watching live, thanks for tuning in, and we'll be back at some point next month, and hopefully we'll see whether or not we had that September slowdown or not, or whether we've got October surge going crazy gangbusters. So, so there's that.
Have a great month, everyone, and good luck.